brilliant 5-0 win at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium yesterday. And yes, you can point at the opposition of Everton, because I thought Everton were absolutely dreadful yesterday. Yeah. They really were defensive. Like, I looked at that team before the game and seeing those two centre-backs, who was it? Holgate and Kenny, was it? Holgate and Kane. And, you know, Yerry Mina and Ben Godfrey, who, you know, I fairly rate. I thought that the defence definitely could be got at yesterday when I saw that lineup, and that was definitely the case. And I thought their midfield as well, for some reason, their midfield just kept opening up for us, like parting like the Red Sea yesterday with, who was it, Alan and Doherty in there in the middle of the park, which I didn't expect. But it was just so much easier yesterday than I expected. And Everton, the way they played their football yesterday, completely played into our hands.
Yeah, and I was worried about the midfield three, Decore, Alan and Van der Beek. I was worried about them up against our two in the centre, because we've struggled against midfield threes of late, although that has usually been with Harry Winks rather than Rodrigo Bentancur. I think Bentancur actually has, whenever we've been in a three with him, we've actually been a lot better with him and Højbjerg than we have Winks has been involved. And I think for the beginning of the game, I think that they came onto us. I think they maybe seen Borough press us, and they've seen a few teams press us really intensely, and they thought maybe if they went with that approach, with the three in the middle, they could outnumber us and they could maybe get the better of us, and especially with Decore, with his energy levels in the centre. I think they underestimated how devastating we could be if we get the ball up the pitch very, very quickly. And the first 10 minutes, it seemed that Everton were getting a lot of joy. They were winning the ball back a few areas in our own half, and we seemed to be struggling. Then all of a sudden it changed. Just all it took was a bit of calmness from Højbjerg and Bentancur in the centre, get their foot on the ball, find the options free and down in the centre, and all of a sudden we were able to break the lines very, very quickly on a very consistent basis. Obviously, we got the goal after 10 minutes with Session, he did very well to keep that ball in play and get it whipped in a brilliant ball across the face of goal, and obviously we went 1-0 up. I wouldn't say it was coming, that goal. It kind of came out of the blue, but we got the goal, and then all of a sudden those lines started opening up at will. I thought the Romero, the goal which we got for the second goal, despite Pickford probably should be doing better, I thought the Romero goal was really, really good. Sorry, the build-up play to Son's goal was really good. Romero into Kane, into Kulusevski, through to Son. I thought quick,
brilliant team
sharp
goal. I mean,
build-up play.
There's about 9 players involved in that or something, or 8 players involved in that. The back three were all involved. Decky was involved. Kane was involved. I think the 2 midfielders were involved in Højbjerg and Bentancur as well. Literally everyone pretty much was involved in that goal. Brilliant team goal.
Yeah, it's just very quick, very incisive, and very direct. And we know exactly where everyone is, where we're going. I thought on the right-hand side, Kulu and Doherty were playing really, really well. I thought they
kept coming in and providing that extra option in the centre of midfield as well, especially Matt Doherty. How many times did we see Matt Doherty just go into the centre of the park and play some worldy balls? It's unbelievable from what I was seeing from Matt Doherty yesterday. It really was. And we said against Leeds, like, that was his best performance in a Spurs shirt. This was by far his best performance in a Spurs shirt, wasn't it?
Absolutely, by not even close. I thought he was great against Leeds, but he was another level yesterday. And I thought, yeah, he was involved building up to the goal. He was actually involved as well just before that when we made a really good opening for Son, who didn't take full advantage of it. He couldn't even get the shot off, but that was a sign of things to come. And then once we started breaking the lines a few times, we found our confidence in the game, we found our footing, and it became very, very simple. We were opening up at will. Son had that chance which Pickford saved, and then Kane's follow-up volley went wide. Doherty had a really good chance when Son lays it on a plate for him and he couldn't kind of find the finish. And then we ended up getting that third goal when Harry Kane runs through on goal through after Matt Doherty plays him through, and we get into being 3-0. And you know what? When we did get that third goal, we deserved it. And we were opening up at will. We were being very creative, very quick. Everton couldn't live with us. Bentancur and Højbjerg were completely running things down the centre. Doherty, whenever he was getting involved, was providing really good quality end product in terms of final ball. And then I thought Son was stretching the play. Then Kane was doing what Kane does. And then Kulu was just being so tricky on the right-hand side. And they didn't know what to do. And then second half comes, we come flying out the traps. Reguilon's on for Sessignon I think for an injury. Reguilon smashes it home within a minute after a great ball from Kulusevski, then a world-class finish from Kane, and it's game over. We took the last half an hour off.
Literally.
I heard while I was watching Rory Jennings, his assessment. He says Tottenham just declared after 5-0, and that's pretty much a very accurate. They literally, it was 5-0, and you could have just skipped the last. You could have left with half an hour to go because nothing happened.
We could have scored about 8 or 9 goals yesterday.
Yeah,
that's how good.
In 55 minutes, because we didn't really have a shot after that.
That's how good we were, and that's how poor Everton were as well. And I think that actually the way the game started, I was quite worried after the game started because the first 10 minutes, Everton looked up for it. They were pressing us massively in our defence. Ryan Sessegnon kept bringing it out from defence and kept losing the ball time and time again. Ben Davies as well kept playing some poor passes out from the back, and it seemed like we were kind of nervous playing it out from the back yesterday, and we kept losing it. But then once we scored, it seemed like once we scored the second, actually, it was like complete, total domination for the rest of the game.
Oh yeah, it was very quick 1-2, wasn't it? Though with 10 minutes, we scored, and then within a couple of minutes, we're 2-0 up.
Yeah,
and then that was it. I think, as I said, like when we're playing out the back, and sometimes we are losing it, and sometimes it looks very scary and looks dangerous, and obviously we don't plan on losing it. But what it does is it offers the opposition encouragement, and it offers them exactly. It draws them in. Conte's a master of that. He's done that everywhere he's been. He draws the opposition in, and then as soon as the time is right, then we get a few combinations going, and then it's almost like we can't be stopped. We get into the opposition half, we're stretched to play. We have the quality, and Everton were on the end of that yesterday, on the end of the full force of Conte's tactics, and then once we got into the final third. We had the fullbacks forward. We had the 2 number 10s. We had Kane coming forward as well. And they couldn't live with us. And as someone just said in the comments, I was worried about a 2 versus 3 with Doucouré, Alan and Van der Beek. What it turned out to being is 4 versus 3 in our favour. Because that's the advantage of having those 2 number 10s in Son and Kulu, being a bit narrower, is that they can actually become options at coming short, and all of a sudden you can outnumber them in the centre. That's what kept happening. And then they were in the centre. Then you had Doherty and Sessignon out wide with Kane involved there as well. And Everton couldn't live with it whatsoever. But to be fair, I did expect a much tougher Everton side than that showed up yesterday, especially when the lineup came out and Calvert-Lewin was there as well. That's another attacking option they have. And you're thinking, if they're as compact as they were against City, and they make it difficult for us, and then with that quality in Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin, if they play 2 up top or Calvert-Lewin up top or with Richarlison coming off the left, it could be very difficult for us to break the lines. But it didn't turn out to be at all. He couldn't get
in the game, could he? Richarlison or Calvert-Lewin?
It was easy. I think Romero had his bullying.
That challenge from Romero was so funny because Richarlison was going nowhere.
Yeah.
And literally, absolutely no. The ball was pretty much off the pitch by the time Romero makes that challenge, and he clatters him. And he gets a booking, and fair play to Conte for taking him off early because...
He didn't look happy with that, did he, Romero, when he got taken off?
No, he didn't, but I think after the game, he will assess it and he'll know that's the right choice, because if he gets sent off, which he very well could have done, and he misses that Man United game, that's a massive loss
Is that
for
a 2-game ban if he gets 10 yellows?
I think it is, I think it is, but I think it gets refreshed at some point in the season. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it does. But I'm not sure... Is it a 2-game ban?
It depends.
Because did he ever get a
5-match booking?
Yeah, I don't think he ever
did.
He did. Because he got refreshed by the time he got his 5th.
So maybe it's not a 2-game ban then. I don't know.
It could be just a 1-game ban. I don't know. Anyone in the comments know if it's just a 2-game ban or a 1-game ban? Let us know.
Well, he's on 9 at the moment.
He's on 9.
But that's including Conference League yellow cards as well.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fine. So I don't know how many Premier League he's on. Because he got 2 in the Conference League in one game.
Yeah, and that's all he got, I think.
And then he got 1 against Passos, I think.
Passos? He didn't play against Passos.
He did.
Did he?
Yeah, that was made his debut.
Oh, right, okay. So you're talking about 3. So, yeah, he's nowhere near 10 in the Premier League then.
So he should be fine. He's on 7 in the Premier League. 1-game ban at 10. someone says.
Fair enough, fair enough. But let's talk about Bentancur yesterday. Comes back in the team for Harry Winks, and I thought it's just night and day, the difference between the two. I mean, Bentancur was picking up the ball in our half, making things tick, making the passes forward, being aggressive, winning the ball back. Yeah, he was doing his laid-back stuff and losing the ball a couple of times in the middle of the park, but the way he kind of makes the team tick, we haven't seen that for a long time at Tottenham. Someone that can actually get the ball on the deck and actually start moves from the back.
Yeah, and he drives forward, actually. He's very deceptive with his... Because he has this kind of languid style, a bit like Berbatov, where you don't think that he's got pace. And you don't think, like, you think this guy you can... Like, he was breezing past the likes of Doucouré yesterday. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was like, wow. I was actually really impressed with that because I thought he was the kind of player where if he took Doucouré on, Doucouré would win that 9 times out of 10, and he'd be able to either outpace him or outmuscle him, but he was the one driving forward, and that was really impressive. I actually kind of yesterday there were moments where I kind of saw what what's his name, Grand Mbappe was Giuseppe was saying about him taking responsibility, because there were actually moments yesterday where he had space to run into and you want him to just drive into it and take that responsibility, and a few times he just checks back and chooses the safe option. And in those moments there I was like, okay, I can understand what Giuseppe's saying, because sometimes you just want him to have that responsibility to take it on himself, but sometimes he just wants to lay off. But yesterday, what I was really impressed with was something we haven't had with Winks, is he gets involved off the ball. When Winks and Højbjerg together, Højbjerg is doing the job off the ball of 2 midfielders. That's why he gets so stretched. That's why he feels like he's overrun. And then not only does he looks overrun, and then all of a sudden you see him getting dribbled past, and you see him not being in the positions you want him to be, and all of a sudden you're thinking, oh, he's having a bad game, isn't he, Højbjerg? You're thinking, oh, Højbjerg looks completely off it today, but actually it's because he's doing the job of 2 midfielders. That's usually the problem. And then Bentancur's there, and he actually gets involved. He makes the challenges. He gets stuck in. He's in the right positions, and he actually can cover quite a bit of ground, Bentancur. And he unleashes a much better Højbjerg when they're together. Them two, 100%. I'm so sure of that.
I completely agree with that, and you saw that in Højbjerg's performance yesterday. Højbjerg had pretty much one job yesterday, and that was to destroy the play in the middle of the park, and he did that to perfection yesterday. I thought
he had a quiet game, Højbjerg, and in a good way.
It's quiet in sense that he's not being asked to run around like an absolute madman. He can sit there, do the job he needs to do, and let everyone around him strut their stuff pretty much.
Yeah, sometimes Højbjerg looks at his best like when he's for Denmark, when he's going 100 miles an hour, box to box, and he's all over the shop, and he's like tackling in the final third and creating chances, and also getting back. But also, he can also look very good like in performances like yesterday, when he's actually a bit more calm, a bit more composed, a bit deeper, and he's just tasked with covering the ground that he's allocated, as opposed to putting out all the fires like he is when Harry Winks is in the midfield. And it was such a difference having Bentancur as that safety net with Højbjerg yesterday, and that definitely helped when Tottenham were out of possession, winning the ball back. And also what Bentancur brings is just that composure when he's being pressed, not to be overawed by people coming at him, actually find players in space, actually have that vision as well. He didn't actually have to play too many long passes yesterday, Bentancur. He just had to play a few short ones into the likes of Kane, Doherty, Kulusevski and Son, to allow us to exploit the space that Everton were leaving yesterday. And 100% having Bentancur back was a breath of fresh air as compared to having Winks in that too.
Yeah, I completely agree. In terms of Heung-min Son yesterday, I thought it was another poor display from him yesterday. Actually, I thought there was hot and cold from Sonny yesterday. He was getting in good spaces. Obviously, he drove quite well for the goal early on in the second half. He actually provided quite well for that, but he was getting in good positions time and time again. Doherty puts him through in the first half. You think for everyone he's going to slot that home. He doesn't. And even the goal he scored, Pickford should be saving that. He's got to be saving that, Pickford. It goes right under him. I'm not too sure what's going on with Sonny at the moment.
I disagree with you. I thought he had a really good game.
Really?
Actually, yeah. I thought he had a really good game. I thought he was really dangerous. I thought a lot of the good work was all flowing through Son. You got to think as well. Yeah, maybe he wasn't at his best finishing. He kept stretching Everton. He kept getting in behind, and he was complete threat in behind. And you got to think the chances he created as well. The fourth goal completely started from him from deep. You know, if that goal doesn't happen, the Doherty's chance as well, which he missed, which Doherty missed, was set up through Son, breaking the lines and laying it off on a plate for Doherty, who should have done better. I thought he was really creative. I thought, maybe his finishing wasn't at his best, but I think you were focusing too much on what he didn't do rather than what he did do, and what he did do was really good. And I thought it's harsh to say. I definitely didn't have a poor game. You could argue he wasn't at his best, and you can have that opinion, no doubt about it. I'm not going to say that was the most vintage Son yesterday, but definitely he did not have a poor game. I thought he had a good game.
I think poor maybe is harsh, but I do think that, you know, when you look at classic Son performances, he's slotting all these chances away.
He should have had at least 2 goals.
Could have had a hat-trick yesterday, you know what I mean?
He should have.
And there were moments yesterday where he's getting the ball and he's spending too much time on it and loses the ball high up the pitch, and I don't think it was a great Sonny performance. I really don't. And when you're looking at him compared to the other 3 that he was up there with, Kane and Kulusevski, it's night and day. I mean, he was definitely out of the front 3, the worst of the front 3.
You could argue he was the worst, but I thought all 3 were playing at a high level. And I thought that's why we won. Big part of the reason we won 5-0. I thought all 3 of them were working in tandem very, very well. I thought, Kulu's decision making arguably was a bit better yesterday than Son, but I thought Son.
Decision making was insane yesterday, in my opinion. I thought he was unbelievable, unplayable at times. Kulu yesterday.
Yeah, we'll get into Decky in a sec. I just want to say Son. I think when it comes to Sonny, again, when he's playing in that central position, as I've said before, I don't believe it gets the very best out of him. I don't believe it's his very best position. But I thought yesterday he played it at a high level, and I actually think down the centre, a bit more central, taking on the Everton defenders and stretching the lines and getting in behind like he was time and time again. I didn't have a problem with Son at all yesterday. I thought it was a step in the right direction, just like against Leeds. I thought sometimes, he looks a bit loose and gave the ball away, but I thought by and large, I would rather have Son in the team yesterday than they're not in the team. How he played.
I think that's obvious. You'd rather Son in the team than out the team.
I wasn't worried at all by his performance. It didn't worry me.
There's no 2 ways about it. Obviously, you'd rather Son in the team and out the team. And even if he's had a poor game, you know he's going to create chances, and you know he can get on the end of something and score. But I just don't think that he's playing to as a high level as we're used to seeing him playing. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know. I think we're being too harsh on him. I think he's playing well. I think last 2 games he's played. I know against Borough he didn't play well, but against Leeds and against Everton, I think he had 2 good performances.
I actually think he had a better performance against Leeds than he had yesterday.
I think very similar. I think he was a constant threat. I think he played good. I think we have such high standards for Son that if he misses a 1-on-1, all of a sudden we're like, he had a poor game. I disagree with that.
It's not just the missing of the 1-on-1 that I'm talking about. There are many times where he just takes too long with the ball and loses it, or makes the wrong decision, or a bad pass, or something like that. It happens too often at the moment. And yes, he provides for us really well in games, and yes, he did really well for that 4th goal, and yes, obviously he scored as well. But the old classic Son of the first part of last season, it's night and day in my opinion.
I don't know. I just think the position isn't getting the best out of him. But I still think I wouldn't say yesterday was anything to worry about.
Okay,
that's just my opinion. Yeah,
and when you're looking at his 2 partners in Decky and Kane, I mean, Kane first of all was absolutely brilliant yesterday. Once again, pulling the strings from the centre of the pitch, getting up there to get his 2 goals as well. That finish on the volley on his left foot, oh my days.
Oh, that's sensational!
What a finish! And he just makes it look so easy as well. Just makes it look so easy. And Kane is just literally unplayable at the moment.
Yeah,
the way he's playing his football, unplayable.
He was exceptional yet again, Harry Kane. Yet again, I think actually his passing wasn't actually probably as good as it has been in previous games, but yet again, a constant threat in the final third. Timed his run to absolute perfection for the 3rd goal. I thought, and obviously a brilliant clinical finish into the bottom corner. I thought that was exceptional, and I thought as well, he did it against Leeds, didn't he? That left foot volley. And then he, I think not only did he repeat the trick against Everton, I think it was even harder this one. It was a tighter angle, a bit further out as well, and he still manages to find the side netting. It's an absolute masterclass in world-class finishing from Harry Kane. On his left foot as well, he had time to wait for it to drop over. I know it was a pinpoint ball from Doherty, but you got to say that's such a difficult finish from Harry Kane, and he's done it twice in 2 games. He makes it look so easy, and that's another 2 goals for him. Takes him to 10. He's actually now the 5th top goal scorer in the league, believe it or not.
Not just the 5th top goal scorer in the league, but eclipsed Thierry Henry in the Premier League goal scoring charts yesterday as well, which is massive, absolutely massive for him. So he will eclipse Alan Shearer. I really believe that. I really do.
Yeah, if he stays at Tottenham or if he stays in the Premier League, 100%. I think it's no doubt about it. He's 80-something, 85 goals away. But we're talking about a player who pretty much scored 1 goal in the first half of the whole season. And yet, we're now sitting here 12 games to go, and he's now 5th top goal scorer. He's only 2 goals behind whoever's second. I think is Jota, who's second with 12. I know Salah's way out in front with 19. He's probably not going to catch him. But for sure, he'll probably finish 2nd top goal scorer in the league this season's Kane. And in a season where you're thinking he's been out, he was absolutely horrific. He'll probably end the season near the top of the goal scoring charts again. And I'm hoping he'll break the 20 again, because that's a big target for him as every season. We know that. He's got 12 games to get 10 goals. And you know what? I've seen him get 7 in 2. So honestly, I wouldn't put it past, especially Kane in this form, I wouldn't put him past him getting the 20 goals. I really wouldn't put it past him.
The way he's playing at the moment, I don't think anyone should put it past him, because he is on crazy form right now. He really is.
And people say he lacks pace and stuff, which is true. But when he's streaming away, sometimes football is not just about your physical attributes. Sometimes it's about you. In a lot of the time, it's about mental, and it's about timing of the runs and stuff like that. And like Harry Kane yesterday, streaming through on goal, no one near him, and in a 1-on-1, and obviously he puts it away confidently. But you don't need electric pace to do that. You need the timing of the pass, the timing of the run, and knowing exactly where to be at exactly that time. And that's what gets you in those positions. So just because Kane isn't lightning quick like Son doesn't mean he can't get away from players like he did yesterday.
Yeah, and these front three are playing really. I mean, they're a frightening front three, really. Son, Kane, and Kulusevski. And when you look at Kulusevski, I mean, Kulusevski seems to have 3 steps of the game in his head before he actually he's like just 3 steps ahead of anyone on that football pitch in his mind. And it looks as though the way he disguises his passes are so brilliant. There was a moment yesterday where it looked like he was going to go at the back post, and then suddenly just slips in the ball right beside him. I think it was to Son or Harry Kane, or I can't remember who it was at the time. But the way he disguises his passing is unbelievable. His decision making is brilliant. He was creating chances at will yesterday. I said yesterday on the watch long, he's a chance creating machine, and that's exactly what he was yesterday. And again, like I said, Kane was unplayable. I think Kulusevski was also unplayable yesterday.
Yeah, I thought he was brilliant as well. I thought yesterday he's such a tricky customer. He's also very, very deceiving with the way he runs, isn't he? You think again a bit like Bentancur. You think, oh, this guy, he's not as fast, and then all of a sudden he's beating players and he's getting around them, and you're thinking, wow, he actually quicker than you think. Technically. Clearly, he's on a very high level. He's got very good first touch. His left foot is very, very strong. His knowing where to pass the ball and his decision making in the final third. He's pretty much everything that Lucas isn't. Pretty much, it seems, in that final third on the right hand side. He's a guy that in the final third will more likely than not make the right decision, whereas Lucas is one who more likely than not will not make the right decision. Yeah, exactly. and that is the difference. Although whatever Lucas has in pace and trickery and lightning speed, Kulusevski has in final end product, and that's the difference that we need, and that's exactly what you need when you have the likes of Kane and Son around. You just need someone who's going to lay it on a plate for them time and time again. And yesterday was a complete example of that. I thought not only that, he definitely has a box of tricks in him, as you said.
For sure. He did
a few back heels in the interspace into Doherty and into Son, as you said. That reverse pass was brilliant. He was able to take on Alan on the outside and create chances. His crossing on his right foot could be a lot better, but when he's on his left foot, he's definitely a massive danger to the opposition.
But it was something I noticed when we first started watching him in his first game for Kulusevski, and that still rings true now, where, you know, when he's chasing the ball down, he doesn't look too fast, like off the ball. But once the ball gets to his feet are just so quick, and, you know, he can beat a man so clearly with his trickery and pace on the ball. But off the ball, he does seem not as fast as he is on the ball. And that's what I've noticed quite often now with Kulusevski.
Yeah, and that can almost be even more tricky to deal with when you're a defender.
You don't expect it.
Exactly, because when the guy has the ball at his feet, right, if he's faster on the ball than he is off the ball, you have to try and get close to him to try and nick the ball off in him. If you can't get close to him and he drives past you, all of a sudden that opens up a lot more space. If he's a bit faster off the ball, then all of a sudden it's just a foot race, and that's something you can deal with a lot better than someone on the ball. And that's what makes, obviously, like Lionel Messi so unbelievably difficult to deal with, because on the ball he's got such amazing close control, and he's so good at dribbling that it's impossible for defenders to get close to him. And Kulu, I'm not saying he's Messi, but with the ball at his feet, he's very difficult to get the ball off, and that's a problem.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I think yesterday, another example of him being he's 21 years of age. He's only going to get better and better. And I think this position under Conte in the right number 10 position is perfect. You can't get a more perfect position for him.
Yeah.
And he's got 2 goals and 3 assists in 4 starts. You can't ask for much more than that.
Yeah. And finally, let's end on the match preview with Matt Doherty, my man of the match yesterday. I thought, look, he was unbelievable yesterday. Prime Cafu would be proud of that performance. He was always an option on that right-hand side. Like I said with Kulusevski, chance creation machine. Doherty was creating chances at will yesterday. That one way he put Son through, the 2 assists for Harry Kane. Time and time again, he was choosing the right option, playing really nice passes and crosses. The guy was just on a different planet last night, and I want to know who that right-back was playing last night and what Antonio Conte has done with Matt Doherty.
As I said in my, like, some of his passes outside of the boot, through balls, like through to strikers, like, this is Matt Doherty we're talking about. And at Wolves, like, he was very good at contributing to the attack, but not even to that. I wouldn't even say to the level we saw yesterday. Yesterday we saw a different kind of Matt Doherty. Like, he was picking up the ball in the central midfield and playing pinpoint through balls, not once, not twice. He was doing it a few times, and that was really, really encouraging and really positive from Matt Doherty. And I have to say, he was getting in the final third in a very, very in many situations. Defensively, I thought he dealt with whatever came Everton's way. I think he made the most tackles on the pitch.
Brilliant as well.
Yeah, aerially, he's a tool defender as well. And all of a sudden, I'm not saying, look, I know it's two performances, 2 high quality attacking performances from Matt Doherty against 2 bottom of half teams. So I'm not going to say, oh, if we play, he's one of the top right backs in the league again or anything like that. But definitely he's showing he can contribute now. There's no doubt about that. And especially in these kind of games where we need quality to open up the opposition from our fullback positions. He showed he can potentially provide that, and hopefully he can provide that on a regular basis. And I thought yesterday he was exceptional. I can't praise him high enough. The ball for Harry Kane's goal, as much as Harry Kane completely made that goal with an impossible finish, it's an absolute pinpoint ball from Matt Doherty over the top to get through. So obviously he plays a brilliant ball through to Son, I think twice, which Son couldn't make the most of. And obviously he played a brilliant pinpoint through ball to Kane for the goal. And he was unlucky not to get on the score sheet himself at the end of the first half, which he might feel he could have done better. But again, it's him getting in the position in the box, which again, what did we see yesterday? Doherty arriving in the box and he scored. Reguilón arriving in the box, did score. That's exactly what Conte wants. Session, I don't think, arrived in the box once. Reguilón was on the pitch for 1 minute and did it and already got a goal. Yeah. That shows exactly what Conte wants from his wing backs.
Exactly what I was saying on the fan show last night. It's like we saw that first thing, that Conte hallmark against Leeds with Doherty and Sessegnon linking up a couple of times in that Leeds game. Yesterday, we saw Sessegnon getting an assist, a brilliant assist, hitting that byline with a lovely outside of the ball from Ben Davis. Matt Doherty providing 2 assists yesterday, and Reguilón getting on the score sheet as well. So that's a staple of an Antonio Conte team. The wing backs providing attackingly time and time again, and that's what we're starting to see now.
I would when it comes to Matt Doherty, I'm not trying to say that we shouldn't we should drop him or anything, because I think obviously he's been unbelievable and he has the shirt. I would still worry about him against really high quality wingers, like he's going to be up against Jadon Sancho next week, or when he comes up against Luis Diaz when we go to Anfield and stuff like that. I would still be worried about him, because will he get the chances to go forward as much as he did against Everton and against Leeds in those kind of games? We'll have to wait and see. So I'm not saying it's good. I still think those games are going to be difficult, and he might get found out in those games. But in these kind of games, there's no doubt he has to play now. I have no doubt about him playing in these games now.
Look, the fact of the matter is, especially us on this channel, the whole of the Spurs community has laid into Matt Doherty massively since he's come to Tottenham with his very poor performances. So it's only right that we wax lyrical about him when he does performances.
Yeah,
like
no, I agree with you. I completely agree. And I think he was exceptional yesterday. But I think it's important for us not to go overboard and expect that level of performance against much better quality wing. Because who was he up against yesterday? I think they were playing Richarlison more central, so I can't remember who was on the left-hand side for them yesterday. Whoever it was, they just left him completely free. And also against Leeds, he had Harrison to deal with, not Rafinha. So it's going to be... So when he comes up against better players who are going to pin him back a bit more, rather than just allow him that free roll to get forward, it might be more difficult for him.
We'll just have to see to what the extent of how much he's been Conte'd.
Yeah, we have to. Yeah, 100%. I would just hold caution on Doherty, just as to say we're now seeing the true, the Matt Doherty who can maybe be our right wing back, going forward in terms of like next season and stuff. I would say hold off on that, but I'd say for sure when we're playing teams, it's definitely in the bottom half. For sure, Doherty has to have the shirt.
Screw that, he's prime Cafu.
There you go. He was brilliant.
No, so I think that is our match review from the game yesterday. Brilliant 5-0 win.